Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something different other than an unboxing. Today I'm going to do something a little bit more creative. As you guys know, I've recently received new planners, like for example the Belgium from Gillio. I was going to use that as a travel diary or a travel journal. But because we're in lockdown and we can't travel anymore, I won't be traveling anywhere anytime soon. So I thought I would use it as a journal or memory keeping. I've found that it's really hard to find inserts that I really like. But I've come close to finding some inserts. I will go through with that with you in a second. So we're going to be sort of creating an insert. No, that's not right. So I have found an insert and I'm going to modify it to my needs. And I'll tell you more about it when we get over to my desk and we'll start crafting. The other thing we're going to be doing as well is going to be making some dividers to go with the inserts. Most dividers, as you know, are on the side, like the tabs are on the side, but I prefer my dividers where the tabs are on the top. And let's get to it and get crafting. The insert that I'm going to be using is this week to view insert. It's brand new, it's still in the package. It's by Debden, and that basically is what it looks like. Here I have old inserts from 2018. The only thing I don't like about these inserts is on the weekends it has a calendar on the bottom, which I won't need. I would much prefer lines that goes all the way down to the bottom here, to give me more room to write the happenings and things that I did on the weekend rather than have a calendar. So basically what I'm going to be doing is using these old inserts to cut out lines and then paste it over the calendar entry for the new inserts. The tools I'm going to be using is first of all a cutter. So this one is from Kaisercraft and it is the best cutter I have ever used. It is so smooth. It has your ruler on the side and on both sides actually. It also has guidelines on here. Mine's a bit worn out, but what you can do is you can flip it over to this side, to the other side. That's easy enough to do, and it is well worth it. I bought this on sale. They're normally $50 from Kaisercraft, and I bought it on sale when they have 50% off, and they usually have the 50% off sales, I believe, the last weekend of the month. I'm also going to be using a steel ruler just to cut out anything that I can't use on the cutter. I need a steel ruler. I'll also need an X-Acto knife as well. And to stick it on the page, I'm going to be using the Xyron sticker maker. Which is easy enough. That's a small one, and I've also got the bigger one here as well, just in case I need that one. What I have here is a template of the dividers that I'm going to be using. I got these templates from an old Debden planner that I used to use. I love that the tabs are on the top instead of on the side. The Debden planner that I used to have only had two. So it had a monthly view and a weekly view, and I just flipped over this bit to the other side to make a third tab. What I'm going to have is the monthly view, a weekly view, and a to-do list, or maybe a notes. I haven't made up my mind yet, but yeah, I prefer the tabs on the top and instead of the sides. So I'll be doing that as well. I'm going to start with, first of all, opening this and then cutting out the lines. I'll also be using a cutting mat, obviously, for this exercise. I'm going to put the sticker makers on the side for the moment because I won't need them until much later. I'll put the dividers on the side as well because we won't need that until much later. We just need room to move, so I'll just put everything aside until I need them. Just open this up. Okay, so when you open up the Belgium Planner, obviously you get the front page, you'll get cardboard, your 2020 public holidays, your school terms, international holidays. You'll get a couple of these personal reminders, which actually only get one page of the personal reminders. And that's just for birthdays and anniversaries. And then on the other side, you've got the special occasions. You'll get calendar references for the next 3 years. And then you start your insert. What I'm going to do is just measure out from the lines. So from that line to that line, I'll measure out how many I need, which is 3 lines. And that's what I'll be cutting. I know that this will be the same width because they are made by the same company. I know I'm starting off from January, so I have a lot to do considering that it's April now. I will cut it a little bit over the line, and then I can adjust it. Okay, that's not even straight. Okay, I just needed a guide, so I just line it up with the line from the cutter right there. And we'll just do a straight line down. Okay, and then I'll do cut for the third line. And again, I will do it, so we need the 3 lines just below the line. So there you have my 3 lines, and then I'm just gonna cut the edges. And again, I'm going to cut it just inside of the line there. And again on the other side. I'm going to cut it just inside the line. So we have now our 3 lines. So when we go to our date line here, it'll just go underneath there. So I've just lined it up with that baseline there. I'm going to stick it over the top. I'm just going to cut it closer to the line, I think. Okay, and we'll just line it up. So you see, I'm still using this line up here as a line, and then I'm lining up my little sheet just below that line. Like that. Let me see how this will look. Okay, that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it on the sticker maker. This is just a Xyron sticker maker. You can get these at any craft shop. I bought mine from Hobby Hoppers. And what you do is you just stick your sheet of paper, the top side up, and the bottom side is where it's going to stick. I suppose it doesn't really matter because both the sides are the same. Okay, so you just want to stick it in there. So there's a slot down there, and you just stick it in there, and then on the bottom here you just pull the tab or pull this, and as you can see, as you pull it, it'll go through the machine and to the other side, and then you can cut it. It's got a perforated cut like that. And then you just with one of the I don't know what these are called. I think they're called bone. Oh, the word has escaped me. But it's called a bone something. But you use this to score. You use these to score lines, or well, you just stick it down. So you just give it a bit of a rub just to make sure that the adhesive sticks, and then you peel off the label or the sticky label. You can bin that, and then you can peel this, and there's adhesive to it, so then you don't have to use like glue, or it's easier than glue because it gets all the corners, and it's easier also than double-sided tape. What I'm going to do is just I'm going to stick it where I want it. And there you have it. What you can do is you'll see some excess adhesive on the edges, so you just give it a bit of a rub with an eraser, and that'll get rid of the excess adhesive. And there you have it. So we've covered up the dates. The only problem is that line obviously doesn't go all the way through, but with a little bit of washi tape you can create your own line. So I'm just going to be using I think it's a 3mm washi, and what you can do is you can create your own line. You can just stick your washi down the center, the edge, and there you have it. I've got my first page. I've just erased the dates, made my weekend a little bit bigger by creating some lines. So that's 1 week down. So what we're going to do now is get a start on these dividers. These are the papers that I have chosen. If you guys don't know, I love Tiffany blue. So the papers I've chosen are as close to Tiffany blue as I can get. This one I got from the Planner Society. It's from their sub kit from November 2019, and this one has silver foiling around it, as you can see. It's very beautiful paper. It's double-sided, and at the back you get the constellations, and also in silver foiling. This one is from May 2016. There's no foiling on this one, but it is just as beautiful. And on the back we have birds. This paper is from Kaisercraft. It's from their high tea collection, and I love this one in particularly because it's got some faint calligraphic writing beneath the pattern. I am also a calligrapher, so that faint calligraphic writing really appeals to me. And on the back we've just got some patterns, lace, and some checks. I'll get started on the first tab. So it's just as simple as deciding, well, I know that's my front page and this is going to be the back page, so it's just a matter of deciding which pattern I want on the back, because I know what I want in the front. So would I like a check pattern, or would I like the more leafy pattern, or I can have a mixture of both. I think I'm going to go with the leafy pattern. Because then that gives me a bit of the lace and also a bit of the checks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just line it up on the edges, and then I'll just stencil it out. I'll use it as a stencil. I'm not overly worried about the rounded corners because I did that with a corner rounder, which is this one. It's the best corner rounder that I have ever used. It has small, medium and large. So I'll just use that as a corner rounder, so I'm not overly worried about these corners being rounded anyway. I just have to make sure all that lines up. So there's our first tab, and I'm not crazy about corners, so we're going to use our little trusted corner rounder and just round out the corners like that, like that, and there we have our first tab. Then just for some added extra, I'm gonna use my label maker to write what it is. Monthly. And what I like to do also is put the same sticker on the other side. And I'll just punch holes. And this is the best hole punch I have ever used. It's from Kiki K. It comes with their mini stationery kit, and it's a single hole punch, but I find it is the best punch ever. What I do is just line up the punches, and it gives a perfect punch all the time. So that's our first tab, but we are not done yet. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to laminate our tab so that we get a sturdy divider rather than a papery one. I'll just grab my laminating sheet while the laminator heats up. You can get the laminating sheets from any office supplier. I got mine from Officeworks, and I'm going to be using the A5 size sheet. I press the paper right up against the closing of the laminating sheet. With the closed part of the laminating sheet first, run it through the laminator. If you're going to be doing this, make sure that when you're cutting the tab bit and you're using a cutter, that you cut it from the tab and not from the base of the tab, because you might forget and you might cut off the entire tab, and then you can always cut the base with a pair of scissors. I've done that before, and then I get frustrated and angry with myself for doing all that hard work for nothing. So just make sure that you're cutting it from the top of the tab and not from the base of the tab. And again, just do your holes. And then final sort of do your corners again. So what I'll do is I'll just run it through the laminator one more time, just so if, of course I turned it off, didn't I? Just so if I had cut the seal by accident, if I run it through the laminator one more time, it'll it'll then just reseal it. But it looks pretty good, and you can see like it's pretty sturdy, and it'll be stronger than the paper as well. So that looks pretty cool. That's the back of it. I'll put it in the planner and show you. That is our divider. So that'll be the front, that's the back. Like I said, I like to have the month or whatever I have at the front of the tab, I like it at the back of the tab. So then when you flip your divider or flip your planners, you can see on the top of the divider what it is. Okay, so let's get moving to the other two. I'll go ahead and do the other two tabs and then I'll put it together. I'm not going to let you sit through all that boring stuff again. I've already shown you how to do it, so I'm just going to keep doing the other two tabs, and then I'll put it in the planner and show you the end results. Hang on a minute and I'll be right back. Well, I've finally finished the tabs. They're in the Gillio Belgium Planner. But before I show you the finished product, let me tell you about the problems and mistakes that I encountered. I'll put this away for now. Starting with this tab. I love the paper, as I told you before, but I didn't like particularly the back of it where it was the astrological signs, and I didn't like the constellations and the moon. I didn't like that, so I changed the back of it to this paper here. This paper is part of the Kaisercraft High Tea collection, and again I like this paper because it has the calligraphic undertones to it along with the white polka dots. I also liked it because the blue kind of like is an offset of the blue paper. What I've done is I've cut them out simultaneously. I put both sheets of paper together as I cut it, and then I stuck it with double-sided tape. Now when I stuck it with double-sided tape, I forgot to punch the holes in, which is why the holes are all terrible. Okay, so I mean I could still use it if I wanted to, but the holes aren't perfect, and even though I love the paper and I love the back of it, that is going to drive me crazy. So I thought I would start again. But of course, I ran out of this sheet of paper. So I had to go through my scrap pieces to see if there was another piece of paper that would go well with this paper. And I found one. It's not a perfect match, but I made another tab out of that paper, and with that tab I also made mistakes, but it's not they're mistakes I can live with. Let's go back to the Gillio and I'll show you what I've done. So with the Gillio Belgium, you get 3 fly leaves. One of them is red and it has the Belgium country outline on it with a suede back. This is my monthly view. I showed you this tab before. I do have a monthly calendar but that's going to be another video for another day because I have to alter the calendar. So this is the new tab that I made. That is a new paper. I've laminated it twice as I did before. The mistake that I made with this one is that I forgot to corner the edges before I laminated it. So as you can see, you've got rounded corners on one tab and square corners on the other tab. I did try to corner the corners of the laminate, but you can't really tell the corner of the laminate as opposed to if the corners were rounded. But it doesn't matter, I can live with that. As you can see, it's not perfect. I mean, truth be told, this paper could work either way. It could work as the front, or it could work as a back, and vice versa with this paper. The other thing I wanted to tell you about the tabs was that I can put a third tab up here. I do have the template for it, but I didn't make the third tab because I wasn't sure what I'm going to use. At the moment, I'm tossing up between notes and a to-do list. So until I make up my mind as to what the third tab will be, I'm going to leave that blank. But I do have the paper already ready for it, and that's the paper that I'm going to use, and that's the back. When you're using double-sided papers, and I've had to learn this the hard way because I have used this paper before to make a tab. The mistake that I made when I used this paper the last time was that I didn't check whether the back was going to be the right way up or if it was going to be upside down. So when I made my tab, the last time I used this paper, I made the tab that way. So just pretend, so that's your tab, and I made it that way. And of course, when I turned the tab over, the birds were upside down. So that is something that you have to look out for as well when you're using double-sided papers. Make sure that both sides are the right way up when you're crafting. Otherwise, it's going to be a whole lot of waste of time, and then you're going to kick yourself and you're going to get angry with yourself and going to get very, very irritated with yourself. So we've got our 3-year calendar. This is the insert that we did earlier, and as you can see, we've got more room for the weekends. I can either draw just a straight line down there, or like I showed you before, I can use washi tape to separate the days from the bottom there. I haven't gone through all of them because that's 52 weeks that I've got to do, and I'm not going to let you sit through all that. So at least you know now that I'm happy with this. And I'm going to start my memory keeping on this, and I'll show you in a few days the monthly spread and how I'm going to alter that as well. That's it for another episode. If you liked this video, or any of my videos actually, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and we'll chat again later. See ya.